This conference will now be recorded.
Copies and mics tonight, so everybody please speak loudly so that the recording in that room over there. The speaker system, they do not have to touch your mics tonight, so just make sure that you heard. And if at any point you guys can't hear something that a witness or an attorney is saying, just kind of keep the last thing together.
Perfect. All right, at this time, I'd like to call the meeting in order. Thank you all for being here. Board members, have you all had a chance to review the registered decision violation resumes, warning letters, and active status letters? Yes. We have a motion on those items. One second. All in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Director, would you like to give us ABC administration update?
I can do that. You will start with our units. Next one. So we had a pretty heavily intensive power 67 this last month. The next month we're on 100%. But like I think I told you guys last time, we started 2025 moving to Fridays, 5 ATC and MNC on Thursdays, and we're signing the same. So we're going to be moving into Fridays. Okay, so that's one. Our personnel update, we have a new ABC attorney. She will start November 12th. Her name is Keisha Zanino. She's a former JAG. We're going to come here to introduce herself. So beforehand, and you guys, I'm sure we'll get to see her in action in some hearings. So we're very excited to finally have that position filled. We do also have a nice start working with us right now. And then the big change since you guys were here last move at the end of September, we moved the tobacco suite from across the hall into the ABC suite with us. So all of that is kind of together at this point, one from this area. And then the marijuana attorney suite kind of came out. We came to help to the medical marijuana suite, which kind of just made more budgetary sense. Square footage on us and we don't want budget works. So we put those staff attorneys and support staff in the whole FDA suite. The FDA suite moved over to tobacco, so we kind of did a jump hole upstairs. So if you guys ever need to come visit, ABC is still in the same spot. It's really now on offers this time, we did have a little bit of a shorter time. They help for working with us on that. Sometimes our nest just gives up and needs a break. So we had to work with technology on that. We were able to get out 22 offers for 26 violations in the amount of $13,000. We didn't have any type of hearings since the last review, but we do have more scheduled out. And on the medical marijuana side, which is next, you'll see a pretty large number there at the bottom. It was a short period of time, but we did have one offer go out, which was actually already accepted in the amount of $120,000. Which is the reason why I haven't been in the news headlines, but you guys might be familiar with that. It's to be competition. Our industry meetings, there's going to be a new mobile ID driver's license back. So we found that on our phones. Obviously, the reason why we are involved is because we check IDs. All of our retailers are responsible for looking at those and understanding how to use them. So DFA will be rolling that out next year. So we already said we've agreed to help some retailers to test it out, make sure it works correctly, and everything in the industry knows on check IDs.
Study that.
So it's a DFA run app, and it actually surprised me. I thought it was going to essentially upload a picture of your current driver's license. Well, that's on it. You actually take a selfie and upload it to the app. But there are several states, I think it's like 15 states, who use this exact same kind of system. So it migrates the information from DFA, but it is a DFA run app. But it gets to you, gets right in my head. But I'm assured that it works pretty well in other states. So we're going to make sure that we have cooperation on the front end to make sure we can catch things, problems, hopefully.
I've seen it like Apple, where you can add other states, like, you know, you add a credit card and wallet, you can add like a virtual license. From some of other states, you can have some wallets, so like, assuming it's probably the same thing, so then you like face ID to, you know, you can pull up that ID and that's fine, but I think you can like touch it with like a credit card place that.
I would hope that it would. I don't know. I will do like facial recognition. I think if you have an iPhone, it's maybe, but the app is going to be in here.
Yep.
So, but we want to make sure we catch some of the that we can.
Yeah.
Be reasonable for it. But it is elected for the retailers. They don't want to take that money. They don't want to.
But anything from a regulation perspective, there any changes those to the bound of the light.
We may need to look into that as they start rolling out, but you'd be surprised, really, our full folks that do not sell to someone who is not 21. It doesn't say you must check and scan every ID. A prudent business owner probably should, or should have in front of y'all. But it is not required that someone scan every ID. If you do have a mobile ID reviewer, I think it would probably be smart to scan the QR code. I think it's QR code. I don't know if they you guys have a lot of director turnover in the meantime, so we were a little late on those, but we were finally getting it done. So we have director turnover. It's 1 year today, since y'all have meetings, so it's going to be on. And then legislative proposals, I mentioned these before, but I wanted to mention again, the two big ones that you can see is running alcohol related and purchase cleanup. One, our students, they have our supposed to issue permits on January 20. As you guys know, we do a monthly customer practice baby for decades. This is one of our results. We don't allow businesses to open at any time. So we're changing that to be monthly. And then the second one is there is an interpretation of the violation statute that could be read into saying that an individual purchasing alcohol unaccredited is a violation, but we all know so credit cards, you go 5 years at the grocery store, and that is not the intent of the law. So we're just clearing that some language in there. But we are adding electronic funds transfer because what it was meant to prevent was wholesalers and retailers buying on credit. And so we will go 2024 and start finding other ways other than just a check. So that's what the electronic funds transfer is about. If you guys have questions on that, you can always give us a call. So in the news, this clearing report is a report by all universities do those in response to an individual who was attacked on campus several decades ago. But the basis of the report is what kind of arrests have happened, and they highlighted this year the alcohol-related arrests have gone up, but the disciplinary actions have gone down. So I think the police department is becoming a little more instrumental on campus out there. So I do think that's good news. Also, up in the corner, you'll see on radio, there's going to be a big golf tournament at Pleasant Valley. So we've been working on that for a while. I think there's pretty people crazy. I think there's 8 alcohol vending stations there and maybe 10 hospitality suites. So we've been looking at coordinating with them to make sure that all their permitting is up to date. We're excited that that event is going to do. So the next slide, all of these little headlines are about the same thing. So we've been getting a lot of coverage about enforcement investigation and that. I'm really proud of Director Potter and his agents on. They have covered essentially fraudulent theft by multiple employees and even up to the manager level in dispensary. They were instrumental in bringing those cases up and turning them over to the prosecutor in the county so that the individuals could be held responsible for the theft and drug diversion. But we also had to do, administrative penalties as well. So we reached a negotiated agreement with attorneys for Greenlight Helena, and they agreed to $120,000 fine. And they also are selling to another operator who we have not had this issues with. So we are hoping that this problem I heard in Helena is completely done. That's about all I'm going to get into it. But I do know that enforcement is pretty much responsible for turning it over to the prosecutors and making sure that this is being correctly, so we can get the recognitions. But that's why I guess that we under marijuana.
We want to see that that's the evidence that already agreed to file if they want to let her won't coming.
Correct. Right, it's beneficial for them to try to work it out on the front end because they were going to try to sell, but now we have a violation may or may not come and makes it complicated. So we appreciate working with them instead of again using business transactions very easy to try to undo at the same time. So it's something on this side.
We've already approved the sale.
Yes, they did. And then up there in the top right corner, some dispensaries are moving locations. There has been one is that they're moving to Berkeley under the new ownership. And then another one is a dispensary that moves to Carter County. And so you guys might be seeing some stuff about that on the news. Again, all of those locations are done by agency. You guys won't have anything necessarily to do with the park holders unless I have insurance. I've heard from some residents there that they're not quite so excited, but it did also work a lot of community support as far as elected officials and other people who can reach out to. So they have been in the last 2 months in residency and it's pretty pleasant.
We have still balancing. Still expecting you have
We still have the residency requirement. And I can talk to you a little bit more about like the marijuana commission rules as far as that, if you're interested in a little more detail, but we do still have the residency requirement.
Are you talking about product grown here is being sold out of state?
No, I'm talking about the facility selling. We did all the applications, you had to be an in-state resident to own the facility, and I just didn't know that was still.
We still have the residency requirement.
And I think that's all for the PowerPoint, so we can go ahead and move on to the hearing unless you guys have questions for me.
Where did you land on the alcohol in state parks, alcohol sales in state parks?
That parks rule is ready to be approved tomorrow. It's been no update since the last time the parks got their rule approved. So they should be letting us know every time they issue one of those permits. We can call them and check in and see how many they've issued, but it's not an ABC permit. We just kind of help them enforce on the back end. And then we will pass our rule just to match theirs.
The enforcement would still come to us.
Yes, if there was to be an issue.
All right, at this time, we will move to our in-person hearing. Do we have Mr. Kenneth Renicky? Did I say that correctly? Midnight Rodeo of Baytown. All right.
And these are exhibits, but have also been reviewed by the permit holder as well already.
And am I saying it is a Renicky? Is that correct? Okay. Mr. Renicky, do you have anyone besides yourself that's planning to give testimony here today? Does the state have anyone?
Yes, we do have Agent Ogden here today.
Agent, if you could please raise your hand, and Mr. Renicky, if you could raise your hand as well. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. State may proceed at this time.
Thank you. We're here today to conduct an appeal on a hearing from a director's decision that was made on the following charge.
that on or about February 2024, your operator sold to or allowed the possession or consumption of alcoholic beverages by a minor in violation of Arkansas Code Annotated Section 3-3-201 and Section 1.79, number 39 of the ADT rules, a Class A violation. I now call Agent Robinette. Agent Robinette, please state your name and occupation for the record.
Agent Victoria Martha Ryan, enforcement agent for alcohol beverage control and regulatory.
And as part of your duty, do you investigate alleged violations of ABC rules?
I do.
Did you investigate an incident that occurred on or about February 10th, 2024 at Midnight Rodeo of J-Town?
I do.
And how did you become aware of this incident?
On Tuesday, February 20th, I received a complaint from ABC that a parent had called in that her daughter has been at the location and had been arrested for public intoxication.
And did you write a narrative regarding your investigation from this incident?
I did.
Can you go over that with us?
Yes. I received a complaint from a parent who advised that her 20-year-old daughter had been arrested for public intoxication on February 10th, 2024 at Midnight Rodeo of J-Town. I spoke with the complainant, the parent, Stacy, and she advised she wanted to remain anonymous, but she did speak with me. She said that her underage daughter, who was later determined to be Molly Elizabeth Tyler, who was age 20, had met with friends after she'd gotten off of work at 10 o'clock p.m. She advised that she had FaceTimed her at 11 when she arrived at Midnight Rodeo, and she was completely sober, end quote, and could not understand how her daughter had become so intoxicated in such a short time. I attempted to speak with Miss Tyler, but she declined to speak with me during the investigation. I requested a Jonesboro Police Department report by Officer Tanner Huff, and I think you guys have a copy of it in your files. And Miss Tyler was arrested for public intoxication because he was alerted by the bar personnel that she had been consuming alcohol. She had removed the markings that were put on her hand, and then he observed that she was swaying in her seat and had been slurring speech. So he made contact with her and requested her to come to the front of the location. He attempted to do a PBT on her, and she was unable to complete the PBT, which is, to assess just how intoxicated she may have been. She was arrested and taken to Craig County Detention Center. You have the attached report.
Point of clarity on that, you said remove the markings on her hand. I assume is that a marking to identify her as underage?
Yes, generally they mark on their hands with a black magic marker or some type of, something on their hands so that it indicates that they are under 21 years of age.
Thank you.
And another point of clarity, I'm sorry, if you could explain what PBT stands for. I figured you was probably getting it.
Yes, Agent Robinette, can you explain what the PBT was first, and then also explain how she was unable to complete that?
Officer Huff, when he made contact with Tyler, he could smell the odor of intoxicants on her. A PBT is a portable breath tester that is utilized to do an initial assessment prior to an arrest or a field sobriety test. And Ms. Tyler was unsuccessful for whatever reason of doing that PBT at the time. I was not able to confirm that they had done any kind of testing at the Craig County Detention Center.
And just to go back real quick, did ABC receive a phone call from that minor's mother, and that's how we found out about this?
Yes, that's initially how I received the complaint. She had contacted ABC and had requested or had filed a complaint that her daughter had been picked up for public intoxication.
And I have nothing further for Agent Robinette.
Question. So after that, it was the violation.
Mr. Renicky, you have an opportunity this time to ask any question you have for the agent.
First of all, I'd like to address her for just a second. The scanners will scan the wallets. So I have dealings with LA Wallet all the time, and they will scan.
Good, okay, thank you for the information.
Interesting, y'all brought that up, because I was going to bring that up today. So since we're on the subject of underage drinking, let's see here.
And Mr. Renicky, you'll have an opportunity after the state provides their whole case to you to kind of give any testimony.
Okay.
Or witness.
Oh, I didn't know she was going to ask any questions.
Yeah, so this
Okay.
is an opportunity just for you to kind
I
of
got
cross
you.
examine this
You,
agent.
you can ask her questions.
Yeah, the agent, you
Oh,
can
I
ask
thought
her.
she, I thought it was her question. There are some questions about, get my names up here. Can you tell me if there were any compliance, checks done on August 31st, September 7th, or October 5th?
I'm going to object to the relevancy of compliance checks done prior to this or after to this incident.
I mean, her entire testimony here says she was not at the incident. I'm asking because we had well over 100 underagers show up from the tailgate party after the football game. just-
Yes, but that is not relevant to the violation that we have here today.
You're speaking to, I assume, a 2023 compliance check or a previous?
For this year,
Okay.
this year, yes, sir.
And I would remind you too that if you have information to bring up that you just want to say and you don't want to have to try to fit it into a question, you can do your closing argument does not have any bounds. So you can say whatever you need at that point too. If that's what you're trying, if that's the information you're trying to get out.
Recent compliance checks. Not necessarily.
I would tend to agree. You were asking for clarity if this agent was part of compliance checks.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if
correct.
if we're all concerned about underage drinking, then, you know, I mean, and when they show up at my door and they're very, very, very intoxicated and they come from another place, you know, I mean, I have to deal with them. I mean, I have to make sure they get home safe. You know, sometimes it takes 15, 20, 30 minutes to get them a ride, find a friend, call someone. You know, we don't just take everybody to jail. You have to really act up.
Right. But the question today, or what we're here today, it's not about every underage, person. It's just the incident that occurred on February 10th, the exact date, 24. So do you have any other question for the agent related to that specific incident that you passed?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, I have just a couple of questions if I can, Mr. Frank.
Okay, so this time we're done with the agent.
Yes.
Agent, you can, and she's welcome to stay up here if you don't have another witness. It's totally up to you, agent. If you want to take back your seat, or you can stay either way since we don't have anyone else. At this time, Mr. Renicky, I think that state has some questions for you.
Mr. Frank, how big is your outlet?
It's about 14,000 square feet.
And how many employees would you have working on average Saturday?
About 28.
And how many of those people are going to be more of like the security figures walking around?
There's 7 bartenders. They all watch out for stuff. There's 7 bartenders and 2 bar backs. They're basically, they all run the bar. They're all watching, but the rest of the staff will be in security, really, plus the police officers.
And what ages are allowed in the club?
18 up.
Do you ID everyone that comes in?
Yes.
Nothing further?
Question. In the report, it mentioned X's on the back of her hand. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, I actually have that here in my notes. Okay. So let me explain to you how when everybody comes in, we first scan their ID. Okay. And if they're 21 years of age, they get an armband on their right arm. Okay. If they're 18 to 20, we put a big black X on one hand, we mark across their knuckles. And then they step up to pay. We take their ID from them, we put it in a baseball card, put this number. We get a number on their other hand and a mark across their knuckles. I actually have body camera footage. If she did try to wash the X's off, she could still see them. I mean,
Is it a permanent marker? Or is it-
permanent marker with Sharpie, line them. The kids don't like it. I have girls tell me they wake up with on their face. They slip on it, so it stays on pretty good.
So what's your purpose of actually physically taking and holding the ID? And that's-
So we have contact with them when they're leaving, some kind of contact with them, you know, kids are kids, okay? I mean, I was underage once too. I drank when I was underage. We want some kind of contact, but we want to make sure they get home safe. And I actually have some videos, of guys coming in, and I still have them that y'all can watch if you want to.
Okay, at this time, does Stan have anyone else would like to call for?
No, sir, sickness.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Renicky, if you have any witnesses you'd like to call, or if you'd like to, you don't have any witnesses to call, if you give a statement at that point.
He can give a statement, but I have to caution that, in the absence of a hearing officer, we have to make very sure that it is a relevant argument. So I would just ask that you would stop the defendant if it gets into other issues outside of the date at present.
Sure. So, so then he can close and then the state would close after that.
Well, he can technically give a statement as his testimony, as if he were questioning himself too. He can kind of do that and then give a closing statement, but closing statement and argument for yourself are kind of the same thing. So it's up to y'all in which order you want to go.
Okay. Just for the point of simplicity, you want to give your statement and testimony yourself, and then we'll have the state kind of wrap it up.
So, all right, so the first offense says the sale of alcoholic beverages to someone under 21. Basically that we allowed her to drink while she was there. I have a conversation recorded with her. She did drink before she came. She talked to her mother around 11 o'clock. She entered the club at 11:26. Okay. When I spoke to her, I asked her, I said, how many drinks did you have? And she said 2 to 3 shots before she came in the door. So she would have appeared to be sober when she came in. I have the video to go and listen to it. That's why I've got this monstrosity in front of me so you can watch my screen if you want to watch these things. But I believe someone did buy her a shot while she was in there. They were 21 years of age and gave it to her. It wasn't long after that one of my floor staff radioed me because he thought she was intoxicated. I was busy dealing with something. I don't know, I think it was getting some break. And the officer came over the radio and said, I got it. I'll take care of it. And next thing I knew, she was going to jail.
So you had paid on-duty police officers?
Yes.
At the
Yes, I have 2 on Friday night. Friday night's not as busy as Saturday, and I have 4 to 6 sometimes on Saturdays.
Any questions from the board? Mr. Renicky, what is your request in front of the board here today? What are you seeking from the board?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is the first, you'll see me twice here recently. This is the first time I've ever had trouble with ABC. The other administrations realized that I had police officers there and they did not come across them to give me a fine. Or pull their police reports. They knew that this was being taken care of. I realized some of the regulations are different than law. But when they interfere with the police officers, I mean, it's not a good thing. You know, it's,
Can you clarify what you mean when they interfere with police?
well, I mean, are you trying to promote me to get rid of them? I mean, like, when you pull their police reports, when I pay them to be there for everybody's safety and to deal with the instances, you know, I'm not calling police officers in off the street to deal with things. I'm not taking officers off the street. Be honest with you, my roommate was a captain in the police department. Okay. He used to be lieutenant on third shift. They have about 8 guys working in Jonesboro. Okay, so on Saturday night, I have half the force almost at my building, you know, working in off-duty capacity. So I feel like having officers there is the right thing to do. But how many times should you penalize somebody for trying to do the right thing for, you know, you want to do the wrong thing? Which would be get rid of police officers.
Sure. The challenge is, you know, at the end of the day, I think that I can speak for most of the board that it seems like the intent is for you to be doing the right thing, but you are playing with fire with having underage kids in a area with that many patrons in there that the likelihood of someone that's 20 having a friend buying them a drink, whether that's right or wrong, and you get 50 police officers in there, at the end of the day, it's still a violation, no matter how many staff you have in there. If you have no police officers or you have 50 in there, we as a board are tasked to uphold the laws as they are currently written, as are the enforcement officers when they get a call like they did on this incident. So I think from my position, I can say I sympathize with the situation you're in, and it seems like you're doing a lot more than a lot of folks out there. But as the law is written, it is still a violation, which is why you got to where you are here today. Now it's up to the board's discretion here, you know, on if someone wanted to make a motion on upholding the director's decision in the capacity of how it's been given to you now, if there wants to be a modification of that in light of some of the things that you're doing that they go above and beyond, or overturning it completely. That's up to the pleasure of the board. But what we don't want to get into a situation also is we're getting into where we make them, you know, if say the board does do something special for you here today, we don't want to, no offense, I don't want to see you again. You know, a continued pattern of there being minors in there, something like this happens again, and it's felt like there's going to be leniency coming to us each time. And, you know, I would say that from a board's perspective, if someone is willing to, you know, do something to be amenable with you all, and that's up to the pleasure of the board, I wouldn't count on that happening every single time if it continues to happen. We can't tell you how to run your business, you know, if it's the right thing to have people underage or not. You know, there's just a challenge of inherently playing with fire with how that operation is run. That, you know, is it worth having, from a business perspective, is it worth having people under 21 that adds enough sales, not serving to this under 21, but to the people that you are making money off? I don't know if it's sell like a cover charge to those underage kids, but, you know, you'd have to make a decision on your side on if is it worth having the risk of coming in front of us again or paying the fine? Are you making enough in cover charges to make it worth that? That's a business decision on your side, but we're tasked to uphold the rules as they're currently stated. So with that in mind, is there any other further testimony you'd like to give?
No, not unless you want to address fake IDs, if y'all want to look at some of them. And
well, the violation today is serving an underage minor, not.
Well, yeah, I know. But, I mean, the subject is minors drinking. I mean, you know, I mean,
That's not what he's been trying.
I mean, the challenge is at the end of the day, we've had liquor stores that come in front of us, but as the rules are written, they have been given an ID that has scanned on a machine like that. So by all intents and purposes, they've done everything that they can do. And still, that person is actually under 21, the way the rules are written, they can be written up for selling to a minor. And unfortunately, we're not able to just change the law here, whether we agree with sort of how it's written or not. But that's the rules, so we have to uphold it from an agency perspective. And, you know, talking to state representatives on cleaning up some laws like that is the best advice we can give, but we have to uphold how things are written at this point. At that point, if you don't have anything else, Mr. Renicky, hand it back to the state for their closing.
So I'm just going to briefly go through the scans. I'm pretty sure aware of what happened here, but ABC, the violation here is that if you'll read the rule that I have provided for you in December 29, and it says that the permittee or any employee, agent, or servant of the permittee sold to, offered to sell, dispensed, give away, or allow the concession or consumption of any controlled beverage by any person under the age of 21. The law that we are going over here is ACA 3-3-201, and that's unknowingly furnishing or selling to a minor. That's just, it's disposing of intoxicating liquor, even unknowingly to a minor. The statute goes into what it would be as a criminal offense, but for our purposes, this is still a violation of this law, as alcohol has been provided to a minor through a friend that bought it, but on the premises of this outlet. We did receive a complaint from a mother whose child drank at this premises. We then have to investigate. We have to take these complaints from the public. That's part of law enforcement's job and duty to the citizens of Arkansas. And so when we get these complaints, law enforcement does investigate them. Part of that is reaching out to law enforcement that was involved in the situation. Because we didn't know that she had received that criminal violation there as well. And I'd also like to add, like the West Helena situation that we were talking about earlier in the director's overview of what's going on now around the state, the individuals who make these violations are held criminally responsible, whereas the minor here was held criminally responsible for being intoxicated in public, and the permittees are held accountable administratively. So this administrative hearing would be just to hold the permittee accountable on the basis that minor did consume alcohol in their permitted outlet. And we asked today that the board uphold the director's decision, which was a fine of $500 in the period of 90-day probation. With that fine being paid within 30 days and the 90 days probation, that fine being paid 30 days from today and the 90-day probation beginning today.
Thank you. At this time, it's the pleasure of the board. Thoughts, comments, or like to entertain a motion?
If I could just interrupt and explain one legal premise, just clear up, there is a criminal charge for the individual that would have unknowingly furnished to a minor as well. The police department did not feel like that was appropriate in this situation. Just so that you guys understand, there is also the individual to a minor can be held responsible for a misdemeanor in criminal court. Because the permit holder has used police in the past and tried to keep a handle on it, I would assume that that's probably why the police did not attempt to do that in this case, which is the reason why I made the decision on the administrative penalty to reach the $500 fine. I think that was fair.
And
And is that the minimum?
yes, this is a Class A violation, so statutorily, that is $500 to $1,000 fine.
Thoughts, comments, ideas from the board at this time?
Is the 90-day probation period, is that also the minimum, or what is that range?
We don't have that, probation is just one of the penalties that we are able to put on there, but there's no statutory minimum or maximum for probation.
The board could make a motion to adjust, say, the probation period or less, at the board's discretion. Same with on the fine, can be adjusted at the board's discretion. So it could be a hold in the director's decision, or changing the probation period only, or only changing the fine, or both.
Yeah, you do have discretion to move up or down. I would say the probationary period is probably not going to come up unless there is another issue that occurred soon after they've already been in trouble for this one. I think it might be highlighted to me by my attorney, or it may be highlighted to y'all in an appeal, but it doesn't have any legal effect of sentencing or not. It just provides us discretion to know that they were already in trouble once before and were given some sort of probationary period.
We'll speak out loud, or something if you want to. This minor was going to get alcohol at some point. She already got alcohol. She's an adult. She makes her own choices. The crack she found in the system was somebody gave her alcohol in the parking lot or before she got there. And then another adult gave her alcohol in the establishment. Now, did that happen? Yes, that's not disputed. But, I think the permittee here has gone above and beyond trying to stop this. Much further than many of the people we see. Is he guilty of having an establishment that alcohol got to a minor? Yes. Did he do everything in his power beforehand to stop it? Yes. After it was found that it had occurred, did the proper steps, even beyond the proper steps, take place? Yes. Has he been in front of us before? Yes. Due to a fight that probably took the proper steps then too. It's my opinion, rarely if ever do I go against the director's decision. But it's my opinion that yes, this violation occurred. I would like to keep this violation in place. But I feel like there could be some leniency, either by suspending the fine or something in this case, because he's proven himself as far as we know. I don't live in that area. I don't hear what goes on behind the scenes. As far as we know, he's proven himself as a good permittee. I feel like in the first occurrence here, there could be some leniency. So if it were up to me, and if it were within the lines of what we're allowed to do, I would make the motion that we uphold the
violation.
That we uphold the violation, uphold the 90-day suspension, and possibly suspend the fine or reduce the fine.
Don't think you meant 90-day suspension. You meant probation.
Probation, not
But-
suspension, probation.
Just again, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt y'all, but you can uphold a violation by issuing a warning as well, or you can drop the fine, hold the fine in advance with a 90-day period, and if there's no further violations in the 90-day period, you never has to pay the fine. You do have leeway there.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. I don't want the violation to go away, especially if something happens in the next 90 days. Because it did occur. You can only do so much.
Yeah.
This person was an adult, and she was going to find something somehow, somewhere. And in 2 occurrences before in his establishment, another adult gave her alcohol. At some point, you got to take responsibility for ourselves. She got penalized. She got public impact, maybe that'll send a message.
I just want to ask Ken a question. You said earlier that you knew she had something somewhere else before she got there. If she's underage and you know the person's had alcohol, why would you allow them to be in your establishment?
No, I didn't know when she came in. What I did was I figured out what happened. I mean, when you get this letter, you don't know what happened. You have to go and find out. Like they just send you a citation. When I figured out what happened, I found the police report corresponding with the date that they sent me and everything. I flagged her in my system. So when she came up to the door the next time, I had a flag and they called me, to come and talk to her. And when I did that, I got her phone number and I ended up calling her and asking her about the night.
Well,
And
I was
if I-
concerned that, that you were allowing, that you knew the person had been intoxicated, you were allowing, I
No.
thought, why would you allow them into your system?
That's when she admitted she had.
Yes, I
alcohol
called her.
Coming into
Yeah.
the establishment.
Yeah, because I thought, I wouldn't have allowed.
If they appear intoxicated when they're coming in, we don't allow them to come in, but she took several shots, like, I mean, she supposedly, I mean, if their timeline is correct, and I talked to the mother, talked to her at 11 o'clock. At 11:26, she came in the door of our club.
Well, my concern is just the fact that you don't allow anybody underage, even if they've been somewhere else drinking, or if they've been out in the
Right.
parking lot drinking,
Right.
you don't allow them into your establishment.
And just so that you know, you can always request any incident report from any day from ABC administration. You don't have to jump through hoops to figure out what we're talking about. We can give you anything when you make the request.
I wouldn't be too aggravated with our ABC officials for they weren't trying to overstep police officers. They're just doing what their job is required them to have to do when they get a call like that. She would be, not doing her job if she said, okay, I've done this moms, I don't want to overstep these guys. So I wouldn't look at it that way.
She actually called her mom to come and get her, and her mom pulled up as the police officers were putting her in the police car. And the mom's pretty mad. And she was more mad that she went to jail than she was drinking. So.
So to back on where we are, Jamie, it sounds like you're making a motion, it sounds like, to uphold the director's decision, but hold the fine in abeyance for 90 days, uphold the probationary period for 90 days.
That, I would be happy with that motion. You don't have to admit to that. But if you want to throw that out, that's fine with me too. That's just.
I'll second that.
That's fine.
Can we, you're gonna hold the fine, conveyance, can make it what, 6 months or something? 90 days just seems awful short.
Okay. So would you like to modify your,
Well, let's see, amended.
Steve, would you like to amend the motion to make it 6 months instead of 90 days?
It's-
All right, we have an amended motion. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Motion carries. Mr. Renicky, thank you for your time. I will say, I do believe that you're going above and beyond most people out there, and it's a hard world of what you're trying to do. I don't envy you trying to run that on a regular basis. But we also don't want to get into a pattern that, you know, we have Renicky here every month for the same issues.
I don't enjoy driving down here.
Yeah.
Real quick,
We appreciate what you're doing, how you're trying to do it, but that was your one ounce of leniency. Don't be back. Yeah, okay.
real quick with, the 6 months, that's 6 months holding fine abeyance and 6 months probation.
I was either have to go in concurrently because it's high, so
And will that be today?
yes.
And, Mr. Renicky, if you do ever need anything, please reach out. Again, he does not have a leniency hearing like the tobacco board. I will have a specific leniency hearing. We will, however, allow negotiations with our staff attorneys too at some point. If you need to call and work things out, we're happy to talk on the front end as well. Any other questions for the board?
Thank you for this time. If no one has anything else, the meeting will be adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, wow, way to keep us on track. Okay. Yes, we do have November and December set, but I know y'all's calendars have got crazy since last time. November 20th is what I have. I think that's the week before Thanksgiving, if that works with y'all. And then December 18th, I know that's getting close, but hopefully nobody's on vacation yet. And again, if you do have to come virtual, we understand, but again, with the caveat, you guys know we can never trust technology. So we like it better if you're here in person. I will also mention the ATC board did have a leniency hearing at one point. They found it was unnecessary because people would just come in with XYZ excuses all the time. You guys do have discretion to go down and sideways, but like how Drew did mention, it's kind of a hell of a situation. There's the difference between an individual behavior and being part of a regulatory framework that has to still uphold a permit. And so it is always fair to understand that we have got arguments in the past from those permit holders, which I think he was kind of trying to articulate was, well, if we have the cops, are you just gonna get us in trouble for that? Obviously, we can't say don't have the cops, we want the cops there, but they have to refer things to us and they do routinely. And whether they would have or not, in this case, they won't. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Everything's handled perfectly. They kind of what it needed to be. Like I say, I
Have the attitude that we're trying to create roadblock or some kind of. We got our jobs to do and she needs to.
he needs to do.
He's just playing with fire with having.
You are.
It's giant and dark, so that's just the hours.
You know, if there is a perfect system, he's probably as close to it as anybody else in the department in the state.
Yeah.
You know,
My biggest concern is like when Dragon first came to us on the NMC side, we gave him leniency and it turned into like him showing up all the time.
well, then,
I mean, he's a totally different actor, but like what it sounds like he could be in a situation that every month he could get written up with how his business situation is.
every permittee out there can get written up anytime they.
And
see
that
what's right.
that's just the name of the game. It's whenever you get caught, you may have to show up. And of course, we never pick on any one establishment, but we do know where police and sometimes even Jonesboro PD in this case has referred us directly to places before. So I don't want to get us too off track though. I did want to ask if you guys want to set the January meeting or do you want to wait on January?
I'm fine setting it. That's
Yeah, we
fine.
haven't said
It
it.
would be,
Make your life easier.
it would be the 15th. It does make our lives easier because we can then give permit holders information about when they need to post to make a certain post meeting.
Yep.
So the 15th would work for us. If that's okay with y'all, we can plan on being here. I will say next month, I think there is at least one, maybe two, maybe three hearings. So on
So
the
next
November
month, I
day,
think that first can be busy.
it could be busy.
If it's, you know, if it turns into it's gonna be a meeting that you think is gonna say past lunch, if y'all could just let us know so that like if we wanted to like schedule like a lunch break
Yes.
and, you know, ordering sandwiches or however we want to do it.
We can absolutely do that. And then I think if you want to go ahead and adjourn, we can talk about some of the party aspects. I mean, if you guys want us to bring Halloween treats, we can bring Halloween treats next time or whatever, you know.
Yeah, so I thought I'd officially adjourn the meeting adjourned.
Okay. If you guys want.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Stuff about it. Not to get too cheesy with it, but we like to hear.